There are tons of things that you might not know about motorcyclists and the good things they do. The charitable aspects are just huge. There's an event that happens here, it's been going on for 20 years. It's called the Blessing of the Bikes, sponsored by F&J Racing. And last time, just a few months ago, raised several $1,000s for local use right here. This was money that was kept in this community, raised by people that don't live here, coming in to support a great cause. That's the type of thing that motorcyclists do. So as we discover these things throughout this, hopefully you'll learn what good motorcyclists do when they come into your community. I call them a temporary tourist because they're only here for a short while, but they definitely are contributing to the well-being and the economic part of your community.
Ladies and gentlemen, and motorcycle enthusiasts of all ages, welcome to Calvin Rocket Bike Night right here in beautiful Marshalltown, Iowa. And we have anybody from out of town? Anybody from out of town, make some noise. All right, that's a good percentage of you guys. We also want to mention we got our friends from Baca here, and they've got a chapter here in Marshalltown. It's a worldwide organization. If you guys don't know what Baca is, you really need to at least go over there and talk to these folks. And if you think you know what it's about, you still need to go over and talk to them and find out what it's really about and all the good things they do. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce this gentleman is the real deal. Give it up. This is Richard Art.
You got what it takes, sweet mama, to make a man feel fine. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Motorcycles in Marshalltown. We are here at Calvin Rocket in beautiful Marshalltown, imagine that, and it is their final bike night here. They've doing pretty well. We got some bikes that are showing up, and I've talked to several people that are not just from Marshalltown, they're from the surrounding area. And that's what happens. These guys come in to an area, they'll spend a little bit of money, meet some friends, and share some good times, and then they go home. And we're going to be talking to a couple people here, and one gentleman, if I can get him to talk to us, you were going to be amazed at the way that this gentleman looks, and you're going to say, no, not possible. But yes, he will be a motorcyclist, and we'll be talking to him. We'll also be talking to a few of the other folks that are here. And we might try to get a hold of Richard Art and talk to him. He's the guy doing the music for the event tonight. And the event sponsor is Zyrsta's Harley Davidson. And we'll be talking to the general manager, Matt Miracle. And he is here in this town doing something to support motorcycle enthusiasts and the entire upbringing of the town of Marshalltown. That's so funny to say. You know, sometimes you wonder, the town of Marshalltown, am I really saying that right? But I really was, and I had to think about it for a second. So that's why you also know that this is real and not scripted, because if it was scripted, you'd never see this. So we'll be back with some more interviews and check out some of the bikes. We'll be back. Still here at Calvin Rocket Bike Night. And we've got a couple of guys that rode from different directions to meet up here. One gentleman is actually on a very long ride. I met him last Friday, actually it was, at the Indianola Bike Night. He won the long distance ride, 401 miles, to go to the Indianola Bike Night. And of course, he's visiting friends and family. But I'd like to share with you guys their stories and a little bit of what they've got going on and their passion for riding. So, Tiny and Paul, Chuck. Should I do that again? Yeah, let me do that again. I'm sorry. That's why they have these cue cards. We're still here, Calvin Rocket's Bike Night, the final one of the year. And I'm going to talk to a couple of people. One gentleman I met a week ago at Indianola Bike Night, and he won the long distance ride, 401 miles from Milwaukee to come to the Indianola Bike Night. He'd been there before, but we got it rained out. So I had the pleasure of meeting him, and he got some cool tickets from the radio station. But we're going to talk to these two gentlemen, they rode from different directions to meet up here, and they are brothers, Tiny and Chuck. Come on in camera. It's a pleasure. Thank you for your time. And
Good to be here.
thank you guys. Motorcyclists, obviously, you just don't wear the clothes.
Oh yeah.
Some people just wear the clothes. And there are people that are motorcyclists that don't wear the clothes. I mean motorcycle
Oh
clothes.
yeah.
And they got to remember all the time, all the gear, right?
Oh yeah.
So you live here in Iowa,
Right, in Waterloo.
Waterloo, and you used to live here
I used to live in Des Moines.
in Des Moines, and then you moved to Wisconsin, and now you're back visiting family in
Yeah, I moved to Indianapolis and then to Milwaukee and
Milwaukee. And I'll get a little closer, make sure I'm picking you guys up. So what is it about having a motorcycle that you like about the most?
just freedom. You're not caged in. You can smell the smells and see the sights, and the closest thing to flying an airplane I've ever done, and I used to fly airplanes.
That's right, we talked about that. And speaking of air, you work at the airport, but you don't fly, do you?
No, not anymore.
Oh, you used to fly?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like flying. Oh man, I like the little planes.
Gotta feel the bumps.
Yes, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
So how long have you been riding, Chuck?
About 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
And you've been riding longer than that.
Yeah, long time.
So did you get riding because of your brother, or?
No, I just decided one day I was going to get that Harley that I've been wanting all my life, and I went out and got a Sportster and got to ride it real good. Rode up to Milwaukee for the 110 anniversary.
Oh, very cool.
No windshield,
Oh.
Eating
no
bugs.
fairing, eating bugs.
Well, you know, the sign of a happy biker, bugs on his teeth.
Yeah.
And the nose. And
But then I've upgraded to a bigger bike and bagger, and I just enjoy that. You know.
And so that you've known your brother rode, so it wasn't like all of a sudden you found motorcycles. It just, you had to be ready. And that's what it is sometimes. You've got to be ready because it is not riding a car. It's a lot different. There is that, it's a little bit of, takes some courage the first time. Unless you're like Tiny and he just gets on anything and rides. Right? Pretty much.
Different bikes before I got that one.
So, and I want to thank you for coming out. I met you there at Indianola, and you said you were going to come out. And when I saw you, I was, man, awesome. That is so cool. And you talk about being at Ames Bike Night tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's a monthly deal, and that'll be their last one. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Awesome.
You'll probably be there. We're gonna ride tomorrow.
No, I'm not going to ride tomorrow. When I come
I'll
down
be
to
there.
Des Moines.
Awesome. Well, we will see you there. Thank you so much for your time, Tony. And thank you guys so much. And as always, enjoy the ride.
Shot it out because she made me slow. I thought I was a daddy, but yet 5 more than
Still a beautiful evening. Still Calvin Rockets, motorcycles in Marshalltown. And we're going to talk to another motorcyclist that does a lot of riding. So come on in, Slim. Let's tell people a little bit about riding. So you ride, how often do you ride?
Yeah, every weekend, every bike night of the week, pretty much.
And are you a local resident here in Marshalltown? Laurel? Okay, so that you kind of make the circuit around, and
Yep.
there's a lot of bike nights. A lot of bars have bike nights.
Yeah, anymore, about all of them.
Yeah, and well, even, Culver's up the street has a bike night too.
Yep.
And we were there last week. So.
Baxter,
Hi, Duff.
Iowa.
Yep. So how many miles do you ride, you think you get into a year?
I get 10,000 a year.
10,000 a year. That's like car mileage.
Yeah. But I run Sturgis, I run Illinois to Mooseheart, I run up into Wisconsin quite often. I'm going next weekend up into Wisconsin and down into Illinois.
So you look for places to go to and to ride, and when you go, you're participating in the economy and spending a little bit of money here and there, and so that's all good positive stuff, right?
Yes.
All good positive stuff. How long have you been riding?
Since I was about 10 years old, and I'm 56 now.
So that's a bit of time. So you've seen a lot of changes, and
Yes, I have.
you went through the whole AMF deal, I'm sure, and we were talking to a couple guys earlier about, the old days, all the Harleys, they were all leaking, how can you marks the spot and so forth. That doesn't happen as much anymore. They've tightened up a lot.
Right.
But I got to think, the greatest thing, I'm sure, if it isn't already out there, and folks, if you do it and you don't cut me in on a royalty, I'll be disappointed. You know, like the fake doggy do? So you get fake oil puddle, and you put it on your buddy's bike. And he comes out. He come out and be like, oh! So, dude, it's a Harley. What do you expect?
They get me.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? That'd be good stuff. You know, $3.95, fake Harley oil, or any other oil. But so you've been riding a long time, and do you ride to work?
No.
No?
12 miles from work, so I don't want my bike set in the sun all day. It is anyway, but I don't let it sit there all day. It's 12 minutes home. Get on the bike and go.
It's not even, 12 minutes is, I'd rather kill the car engine than the bike engine, because 12 miles is, it's just getting to wake up.
Ride, first part of the year is always Moose Heart over in Illinois. It's for the children and everything over there at Moose Heart.
And that's another charitable thing?
That's a charitable thing. It's a big thing. I spend my birthday every year on the road, going there and home.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
So I don't spend it with friends and family.
Well, you spend it with family in a way.
I
mean,
am.
it's, you know, the
children over there.
And that's another, again, so many of these motorcyclists do so much good for charitable work. And there's other organizations, and we'll be talking to some of those folks here a little bit later on. But one of the things I want to also mention, I noticed you've got the Abate. We talked about the Abate earlier.
There's a lot of them.
And you've been a member of Abate, and Abate does a lot of good things that people don't realize that it isn't certain. There's a lot to the organization, not only writing rights and legislation, but a lot of charitable events to raise money for different causes. And it's because of the strength of Iowa and Illinois that we have the choice available for helmets.
Right.
And that's what it is. It's a choice.
I've been a member for 29 years.
29 years. Wow. That's
so pretty much started.
Yeah. So yeah, back in the before the aimed at education.
Yes.
So is there anything in particular you like to tell folks that to give them a good positive impression of motorcyclists?
Well, we do a lot of charity. Like I said, Moose Heart, Vets Run coming up this weekend. Just a lot of the charity events I go to. It's for nursing homes, it's for the vets, it's for anybody and anything that comes up. I go on all of them.
Just like the F&J's Blessing of the Bikes.
Blessing of the Bikes.
You got people riding in hundreds of miles and leaving money here for people in your community. So make sure you watch for the episode on the charitable events. Slim, thank you so very much. You've been a perfect interviewee.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you out there. It just gets reinforced every time. Motorcyclists and all the good things that they do, and that it is something that benefits you in ways that you don't even know, because some of these people that get helped could be your neighbor, and it is a big part of what motorcyclists do. The whole freedom, the whole wanting the aspect of enjoying their lives and being helpful and being respectful for other people. So motorcycles in Marshalltown, it is a good thing. We'll be back. Bike night, Calvin Rockets, Marshalltown, still going on. And I'm with a gentleman that I've had the pleasure of having on my radio show just this past weekend to talk about this and a few other events. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Matt Miracle. And Matt, you are with?
Zylster Harley Davidson in Ames.
In Ames. And that is a pretty established dealership and has been around for a while?
Yeah, we're actually Iowa's fastest growing dealership. It's been around for 21 years, and Marshalltown's part of our market, so we're over here hosting the bike night and having a good time.
How did you come into knowing and being here? Did they approach you, or?
I actually used to live and work in Marshalltown, so I always knew there were a lot of bikes here, and Allie from Calvin Rockets approached me about having a bike night, and we thought it was a great idea, so we teamed up and put them together.
And you've done it the last Friday of the month.
Yep.
Here. And so this is how many?
Thursday.
Last Thursday. That's right. It's Thursday only.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I lose track.
I'm so well, I do all the ones I do on Fridays and Saturdays, so it's kind of nice having this one on a Thursday. You also do some other bike nights, and you've got yourself involved in one back in your hometown.
Yep.
And that's quite a bigger bite to take on, because it's not in a local bar, it's a town is the name of the event. The Ames Main Street Bike Night.
That's
Same principles of which came first, Calvin's or
They all
Ames?
came together about the same time. The Ames Bike Night has actually grown really large. We had 800 people at our very first bike night, and we're expecting double that this time. That's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, yes.
And
And I will be there too, folks. You should come on out, but of course you don't know because you won't see this until afterwards.
City Council is actually allowing us to block off Main Street. We're going to have custom bikes down there, live band, beer tent, so all the good stuff.
Yes, and I had the pleasure of talking with the gentleman with the band, and I am looking forward. He seems like a really cool dude. I am really looking forward to that. And there's a lot of other stuff going on in town. Right now we've got Richard Arndt. He's here performing. He's going to be in Ames tomorrow night playing in one of the bars as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on because of the bike night. It brings stuff in.
Yeah, and bike night rolls on into the evening. You know, we finish up about 9 with the formal bike night, and then all the bars and a lot of the businesses stay open so people can mingle. It's a really cool, low-key, kind of downtown, old Main Street look. So.
And I like that you stop a little bit earlier because then that gives the local establishments a little bit of time before it gets darker to start rolling out and everything.
And some of the bike nights are kind of constricted to one area. This one, the entire bike night, and even after, they can wander down Main Street, they can shop, they can go into bars and play pool, whatever their little hearts
And they've got
desire.
some of the businesses are actually still being open, and that's good because that really does help everything. There's some places where some of the businesses close up for the bike night.
Yeah, no, we got the whole Main Street Cultural District involved. We all went down to City Council and said, hey, we think this is a good thing for Main Street and for Ames. And so it's a coordinated effort, and everyone's really behind it.
Because they bring in money, they bring in other things, they come back, they tell if they share stuff.
And it's not scary.
Oh, well, it's motorcyclists.
Not even scary.
How can it not be scary? It's motorcyclists.
Well, you know, we're trying to change that. We're trying to
that's
change
right.
that
That's what we're
misconception.
doing. Because motorcyclists are the best part of this country's fabric. Saturday, you're going to be involved with a charitable event that touches a lot of stuff. It touches motorcycle rights with the Abate folks, because they're who putting on, and it touches something very dear to my heart, and that is our United States veterans and helping these folks out. So tell us a little bit about the event and how you became involved in that one as well.
Sure. This is a really cool event. It is to raise money for the veterans at the Veterans Home here in Marshalltown. Most people don't know it, but Marshalltown has one of the largest veterans homes in the state. I'm not exactly sure the count, but there are hundreds of our veterans that are housed there. ABATE, the statewide organization, got behind this and came to me and said, would you sponsor it as a dealership? And we said, heck yeah, we sponsor a lot of other veterans.
Man, I did. It means so much to me. It really does. I didn't serve. I wasn't allowed to serve, but it means so much to me when the way they're treated.
There's no other group of Americans that deserves quality health care and housing than our retired veterans.
And this fundraiser is to help the Residents Fund, and I found it, and I know it may be a little ironic, but it's the money for these guys to buy toiletries, and there's women there. It's this military man shaving cream. He doesn't have the money for shaving cream, and I think to me that's a double insult, because we all know in the military you shaved. It was always at everything, and now they don't have money for shaving cream because when they go into the veterans home, they pretty much are destitute or they have to sign things over, and they're at the mercy of Uncle Sam, who's turned his back.
Yeah, a lot of those funds have been cut over the last few years, so it really is hard for them to get the things that they need, and they've closed a lot of veterans homes and consolidated. It's a struggle for those workers and for the veterans to make that still work.
Yes.
So we're happy to be a part of it.
And I'm glad you mentioned that the workers, the caregivers, because not only in these institutions we have, but we also have a lot of private care people that do stuff for veterans. And they're unsung heroes. There's a great organization, the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, that helps the caregivers for helping these people that live at home. So there's another whole part of it that is under the radar. So, man, thank you so much for being an American, supporting motorcycling in the community of Marshalltown and the great charities, and for being on the radio show, and thank you for letting me do bike night tomorrow night. I am looking forward to that. It's going to be great.
Of it, and I'm glad you're here.
Awesome. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Miracle. I can tell you no more. Still going on. You can tell the sun is starting to dip. It's getting darker, but bikes are still here. Calvin Rocket's Bike Night, Marshalltown. I had the pleasure of talking to a gentleman from an incredible worldwide organization, ladies and gentlemen, and another show and proof of the good that motorcyclists, motorcycle riders, motorcycle enthusiasts do. And this is such an incredible good thing for such a horrible thing. It is unspeakable of why, but folks, you need to find out more about this organization. It's worldwide. It's very important to me because I have the whole aspect of what you guys do and giving of the time and so much. I'm with Pac-Man. Pac-Man, thank you so much for coming in and driving out here to spend some time with me on and to talk about motorcycling and the charitable aspects. Now, with your organization, now it's a worldwide organization.
Yes, sir.
And there's chapters all over the place.
We have chapters in 46 states, and we have chapters in 7 foreign countries.
7 foreign countries. Yep, that's pretty much worldwide. And now most people think they see the leather vest and, oh, there's another biker club, and it's further from the truth.
Yep, we're not a bike club at all. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose sole purpose is to empower kids.
And kids that have been affected through trauma and abuse of various kinds.
Various kinds, whether it's physical, mental, sexual. The thing about it is we don't ask. That's none of our business. They have to tell that story to
a lot of people. Oh my, yes.
We're there simply as an extension of their family. We adopt them into our organization. When they need us, they call us. If they want us to go, if there are situations in court, we'll go to court with them. The way we actually get these kids is through organizations such as DHS, Lutheran Social Services, things of that nature. So we're not going out and soliciting families of abused kids. We're going to people, we make presentations to organizations that work with these kids. And what we tell them is we're an extension, we're just another tool in your toolbox. So if you feel you have a child that's fearful for whatever reason, that seems kind of closed off, whatever.
Basically afraid.
Afraid, yeah. Have them give that family our pamphlet. The family reaches out to us, and then we go through a little process where we make a presentation to the family, let them know who we are and what we do. And then we try to figure out if we're going to be a fit, because we're not meant for everybody.
Well, not everybody can get along with everybody. There are those aspects of it, but
and we make sure that the family knows that our sole purpose is that child. We're not there to protect the mom. We're not there to be any kind of vigilante. We're not going after whoever it was that
would defeat the purpose, because then you would become fearful.
Right. And our sole purpose is to put our energy and all of our focus on that child, to help that child to help that child do whatever it takes to get back to who they were prior to the incident.
Right.
We want them to get back to being a kid. That's our sole purpose, is to give them power. If they have to stand up in court and do anything like that, we're there.
Just to provide that.
We're their support system.
Support system, whether they feel protected, they feel safe, they feel secure, they know that nothing bad can happen now, and they are protected.
And the beauty of us is the beauty of my organization, our organization.
Well, that's the English language. My apartment building.
The beauty of our organization is we're accessible 24 hours a day. So if they wake up in the middle of the night with night terrors, they can call their primary and talk to their primary. If it's to the point where that child is just literally fearful, hey, we'll go set up a tent in their front yard and we'll hang out for a while until that child feels.
Now that sounds like that could be kind of, a little bit of, enjoyment aspect of it, because I'm sure there's a lot of grief that you have experienced and a lot of sadness and sorrow, but it's all worth it when you could do something like that, camping for somebody and having that fun, and for them, and that's given that safety. It's a big commitment, because you guys, it's like you said, it's not a club. You don't guys go out riding around town and tearing up. You do this work behind the scenes. So not just anybody can just sign up and say, hey, I want to be a member, give me my patch.
No, it's one of the instances where the first thing we do is we tell people that are interested, tell them to show up. They have to show up to a meeting, because when that kid calls us, we tell them we're going to show up morning, noon, or night, whatever it may be.
Wow.
So the first thing you got to do is you got to show up and show us that you have interest. And then from there, so it's a long process. It's you have to go to a certain number of meetings, and then we do put people through a local, state, and federal background check because the last thing we want to do is bring anybody into the organization that is going to use us as a means to get to kids to try to harm kids further.
And even if it is somebody that is reformed and trying to do the right thing, you still have that aspect of tainting, and you need to keep it in a pure.
Right.
And I know that it is a very strong vetting process.
It is.
And it's actually very similar to some of the other becoming initiated, so to speak, but it is a totally different purpose and reason. Can I ask you, what prompted you to become a member?
Why not?
Oh man! Oh,
Somebody
that is just. I'm thinking of all these different things that you're gonna say. I'm like, and what? Why not?
I mean,
why not?
Somebody's got to do it. I mean,
You got a lot of love in your heart, man. Got a lot of love in your heart to be able to do stuff and actually volunteer more by being the PR guy for the state chapter.
for
the state,
sure.
that's not a chapter thing. But speaking of chapters, how about that segue, folks? We're here in Marshalltown, and you're not here. You specifically came over here to come talk to me to be on this television show to help explain about motorcycles, their giving part of it. But Marshalltown has got a new chapter that started up.
Marshalltown has a chapter. They're in that early stages. They are what we call a temp charter right now, and they're going through that vetting process to become a full charter, so that they can, go out and work with kids themselves. I mean, they have that ability now but it's limited as to
right. There's still, to make sure that you've got, because it is a huge responsibility.
It is. It's a very.
It really, really is a lot more than maybe people understand. And you guys are so serious about it and so wonderfully dedicated to doing something that unfortunately is needed. And I want to thank you guys because I was not treated very well as a child. I got everything. I got 2 out of the 3, the mental and the physical, but but nothing. But it would have been nice to have somebody that I could have felt safe with.
Yeah, and we all, I mean, like we can all we all have a story, and
that is true.
That's the bad thing about it, is everybody has a story, but I like to say that it's not really about me. It's not about all this stuff. The sole purpose is all about that kid. Whatever helps to get that kid back to being a kid and back to being comfortable in his or her own skin, and his or her own environment.
Yes,
that's the most important thing.
Yes,
what we want to do is we want to break that cycle. A lot of times, what it is
a cycle.
It is a cycle. Somebody perpetrated, so they perpetrate, and then it's just a vicious cycle. And what we want to do is we want to be a means to help break that cycle, so that they know what it's like to actually have love and affection from an adult.
They
want to know so they can feel protected, because 9 times out of 10, it's somebody they know for whatever reason. I don't understand it. I can't wrap my head around it, but that's the way it is. And so what we gotta do is you gotta help that child gain trust again, and just be comfortable being a kid. Whether that's going outside and playing,
and
whatever.
The children are our most precious resource, because they are the future of tomorrow, and we want to have every opportunity for these kids to have the best possible outcome for their lives. And with people like you and the rest of the people in the organization, you guys are doing a wonderful thing, and I want to thank you. And I'm sure there are just 1,000 people out there that will preach your thankfulness and everything that you guys have done. It is a wonderful thing. I want to thank you so much, Pac-Man, and thank you again for taking time and coming all the way out here to do this for the cause, and to help me out and to help everybody out understanding motorcyclists is a good thing.
No problem.
We'll see you, buddy. Thank you so much. There you go, folks. Motorcycles in Marshalltown. It's a good thing. We've got a new coming chapter here for the Bikers Against Child Abuse. Check them out. The website, it is bacaworld.org. That's bacaworld.org. You might not necessarily think that you can become a member, but I'm sure that you could help them out with some resources. It's a good thing, and it's all about motorcycling in Marshalltown. We'll be back with more. Folks, I have the pleasure of talking with the gentleman here partially responsible for this wonderful motorcycle event right here in Marshalltown, with the owner of Calvin Rocket. This is Tim. Tim, I want to thank you for inviting me in to film here for the television show and to be part of the event. And you should be quite proud. You got a nice little thing going here.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we've been looking for stuff like this for Marshalltown to do, have enjoyment. I've owned several businesses in town and always looking for something new.
Right, because when people do things like this helps the economy, and when the economy works better, everybody gets, it's a crazy concept, but yeah, wanting your town to get better and have people coming into your town to spend money, crazy. Why would we want to do that? Well, so that brings my question. Why did you think about doing, you know, the bars are typical stuff. It doesn't look like a typical motorcycle type bar that people would assume to see with an old bike hanging in the tree or something. Why motorcycles? Are you a motorcyclist? Have you ever been motorcyclist or?
I've owned motorcycles most of my life, and I'm diabetic right now, so I have been for 25 years, so I decided, let's retract that. My wife decided that I shouldn't be riding anymore. And it worried her when I rode, so I thought, I can work with her.
There are things, yes. I mean, you have the experiences. It's not like you never did something. You were able to, and now you can, you know, cherish those memories a little bit more because they are finite. That's it. There is, and so the value kind of rises a little bit. What kind of bikes did you ride? All types, or?
Yeah, the one thing I've never owned was a Harley. I had a mainly race motocross early in the years. And then I had,
that's where a lot of people got their start, is off of the, because if it wasn't for that, there'd be a lot of people that feeds the chain.
Right.
So that's, you know.
So that's
nothing.
And then
nothing.
I rode
Yeah.
Kawasaki 900s and 1000s, and but my last bike was a Goldwing. That's the closest I got to a Harley was a Honda. Starts
Well,
with
size.
an H.
Yeah, starts with an H. So you've done this now a few different times.
This is our fourth event.
Fourth event, and it was the last Thursday of the month. And is there anything that you've noticed as far as the meeting motorcyclists, being a motorcyclist? Has it been like nothing you didn't expect, or were you surprised at something? Is there something in particular that, like, wow?
Actually, I've been told that Marshalltown, or the 50158 zip code, has more motorcycles in it per capita than any other zip code in the state
Of Iowa,
and
yeah.
I was kind of surprised people weren't taking advantage of this and coming out, checking things out. We have live entertainment and food.
Good entertainment. Richard's up there playing.
He's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of very enjoyable, very interactive with the crowd.
Yeah.
And it is, motorcycling is not, you know, it's like people, okay, there's a little bit of noise maybe occasionally, but most people are respectful, and it goes away quick enough. And the positive aspects, because of all the charitable events that happen and the motorcycles do, you yourself have allowed the Marshalltown Baca chapter to come in.
Absolutely.
And you're donating money back to them right here. So here it is. It's just going and making itself bigger and better. And that's a really good organization. And it's very, very professionally ran. Very, I mean, it's not a, hey, let's just have a club. I mean, it's very good. And I am very respectful of these guys and the dedication that it's taken them to do it. And you've got the last one now. We'll go back to this bike night. Your last one for the year?
Yep.
Because it's going to start to get cold. The riding season's over. You got plans for next year?
Yeah, and we've been talking about probably upping it a little bit and doing 2 a month rather than 1 a month.
That gets to be a little bit more of a commitment. And,
yeah, sure.
And you can do one or two bigger ones, or you do smaller ones. And I think you're the bigger punch to get that people to realize, hey, these motorcycles come into town, and then they leave. They leave money for your town and your merchants.
And some stay in motels, and some eat at different restaurants. It's
yes.
Absolute plus for everybody.
Yes. And speaking of that, I spoke to one of the officers at the Marshalltown Police Department and asked about any upticks in anything with the different, because there's been more motorcycle events going on. Culver's does one every other Thursday. They do a car show the other Thursday. If they've noticed any changes in incidents, crime, bad incidences, trouble, none. I interviewed the fire chief. Have you noticed an increase of emergency calls with the motorcycles coming to town? None. So yeah, there will be things happen. but it's not what they think it is. Motorcyclists are just like everybody. There's a gentleman, and I can't believe I let him get out of here. He was walking around in a white or a blue shirt. Didn't look like he was a motorcyclist. Kind of like stuck out like you did, but you've got the shirt on, so you could tell. Didn't have any leather on. And are you a motorcycle? He goes, yes, I own like 25, 30 bikes, and da da da. And I'm like, oh, I was going to have him come back on and talk to you guys, but he got away. I did give him my card earlier, so hopefully he's going to call me and talk about some other stuff. But I got to say, I appreciate a businessman putting himself out there, trying to do something for yourself and the community, because there's a benefit. You bring people in to your business,
Absolutely.
yeah, they're going to spend some money, you're going to make, but there's all the other things. Oh, I broke a nail, I need my shoelace broke, I gotta go to the store, let's have some ice cream. I'm so bummed Tasty Freeze closed already.
I know.
But they've got a couple of a custom place up here that does ice cream.
Sure.
So,
I mean, Marshalltown's got 30,000 people in it, and plus, people that ride motorcycles nowadays, I mean, they're doctors, they're lawyers, they're
you got a
business
dentist in
owners,
town, a very successful dentist.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. So, it's not the old school where Hell's Angels are showing up, you know. I mean,
Right.
they're respected people of the community. It's awesome.
And you have a fairly nice establishment here. This isn't a dive or
Thank
anything
you.
that it
Yeah.
looks like. I mean, it looks very nice, and so I'm interested in your steak stuff, because some people, when they put a steak in on their sign, it means that you're pretty serious about it. And, you know, I'm looking at how wonderful it is, and you wouldn't bring motorcyclists into this beautiful establishment, and it's good. You know, it's not a dive, folks. They serve steak. It's not like they're selling hot dogs and beans and weenies. Why would you take a risk of bringing motorcyclists that could damage if they, right? Because
Not at
know
all. Not at all.
motorcycles, say it with me, motorcycles in Marshalltown is a good thing. When we look at the camera, ready?
Okay,
Motorcycles in Marshalltown, it's a good thing.
Well, I was born my papa's son. When I hit the ground, I was on the run. I had one glad hand and the other behind. You can have yours, just give me